What is up, people, and welcome back to part 55 of my F1 2016 career mode here at one of my favourite tracks on the F1 calendar, the Belgian Grand Prix, of course. And if you have missed Season 1, Season 2 and the first 12 rounds of this third season, then you can go check those out in the top right corner of your screens on the little card annotation. But just before we get into today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys once again for 2,000 subscribers. I probably hit that like over a week ago, so it's a little bit of a delayed thank you very much, but I said thank you on one of my challenge videos, but some of you may not have seen it if you just tuned in for my career mode. So yeah, huge thank you to all of you guys for helping me hit 2,000 subscribers. It's absolutely amazing. All the like and all the support that you guys are giving me is just absolutely incredible. So I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys, and hopefully we can carry this on through to the end of the year and of course into the new year as well. Possibly try and hit maybe 2,500 or 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be absolutely amazing. But let's get into today's Belgian Grand Prix. And here we are, kicking it off with the practice sessions, going through all the objectives that the team has set me to try and get as many resource points as I possibly can going into the end of this race weekend, going into the Italian Grand Prix to try and upgrade the engine to be as quick as we possibly can down those start-finish straights. So here we are on the track climatization at the moment, coming down towards the line, getting a purple score, getting pretty much every single one purple apart from one green on a full wet track. That's pretty amazing. I am pretty happy with that. It's 22nd on the grid, but we're on wet tyres. Everybody else is on intermediates as the session dried up. And here we are in the second qualifying session, doing the tyre wear management right now. So going through the last couple of laps, or the final lap, getting a purple score there once again. Very happy with that one. And that means more resource points in the bank to spend later on in the session. That meant that we were in 9th position on the soft tyres in that session, which is really good. But then unfortunately in the qualifying objective we couldn't get a good enough time on those super soft tyres. For some reason I just struggled a lot on the super soft tyres to get a good lap. It was only good enough for 14th position in P3. So good result from FP2 on those soft tyres. The super soft tyres I struggled a little bit, but hopefully we can get more performance out of those tyres in the actual qualifying session. And without any further ado, let's head over to qualifying. Okay then, here we go, qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. So we'll be hoping to, like usual, to get out of Q1 into Q2, into Q3, and then see what we can do from there. So here we are, first lap in the full wet weather conditions once again. So it looks like the rain has come back for the start of the qualifying session, and our first lap time is a 2:05.4, but Q1, especially in the wet, is just a session where you just get used to the track, get used to it after practice, because obviously we did a bit of dry running towards the end, so we need to get used to those braking points. But then it did start to dry out throughout the whole of the session. It will be drying out, so we did go on to the intermediate tyres, setting a lot quicker lap this time, 4 seconds faster, and it's all 2:01, which is good enough for 7th position. But going up the inside of Marcus Ericsson, we know we're going to the back of him, but that kind of does actually help us get round the corner and gain a lot of time on both Marcus Ericsson and on ourselves through turn 1. As you can see, we're already 4 tenths quicker than we previously were on the last lap. We're coming round in towards Pouon right now, currently 8 tenths quicker than we have been, dipping a wheel onto the grass. That sends us a little bit wide on the curb throughout Pouon, losing the back end, putting our car into the spin, and that is the end of our qualifying 1 session. But luckily enough, it was good enough to get into Q2. As you can see, we're in 8th position right now. There's not enough drivers out on the track to go faster than us, so there we go on screen right now in 9th position into Q2, and that's a fantastic result for us. And it was raining at the start of Q2, so we decided not to go out on track on those intermediate tyres, just wait until it started to dry out to go onto the track on these soft tyres. Yes, we're going for a little bit of a different strategy call. We were very quick in FP2. Here we go, first lap in Q2, and it's a 1:47.4. It's a good lap at the moment, but we should probably need to go a little bit better to try and get into Q3. So here we are on our second lap, but if we can get through on these soft tyres, we will have the strategy on the rest of the guys getting through on the super softs. Coming down towards the start finish line, it's 5 tenths quicker. It's good enough for 2nd place in Q2. That's a slam dunk straight into Q3, and we are very, very happy with how this qualifying session has gone so far on the soft tyres as well, which means that we will have the strategy on everybody else apart from Max Verstappen. So we could have a battle with Max Verstappen come the end of the race, but we are 3/10 quicker than him. We have a lot of time to make up in Q3 as there is a big gap between ourselves and Danny Kvyat. Danny Kvyat so far 1:45.5 is the fastest lap of the session so far, but coming down towards like what is our time good enough for? It's a 1:45.5 as well, getting provisional pole position. Will we stay there by the end of the session? Will we go up for a few laps? No, we won't. It's a 1:45.594, beating Danny Kvyat by 1,000th of a second. That is one of the closest margins I have ever seen that separates pole and second place. That is amazing, an amazing feeling to beat Danny Kvyat by such a small margin and get into pole position. But we lead at the front of the grid with Danny Kvyat alongside us in second. Then it is the same row but with Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz in fourth. Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa line up on the third row. Fernando Alonso seventh. Daniel Ricciardo eighth. His teammate Max Verstappen behind him in ninth. And Esteban Gutierrez lining up and rounding out the top 10. So that is it for today's qualifying session. Very, very close between the top four. Very close between the Toro Rossos and the Force Indias. Will it be that close in the race? Let's find out as we head over to the race for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's race day here in the Ardennes Forest for today's Belgian Grand Prix. It's round 13 of this season 3 here at the circuit to Spa-Francorchamps at one of the most historical circuits on the whole entire F1 calendar. It is also one of my most favourite circuits as well. Very close with Monaco in terms of that, but I think Belgium just about beats. I love this circuit, and especially that corner that we are looking at right now, El Rouge. Such a great corner, taking at high speeds, and when you get it right, it just feels absolutely amazing. But qualifying, very little to separate myself and Danny Kvyat. Look at the championship just there. Carlos Sainz still has a huge lead over us because of the two non-point scoring finishes that we have had over the past two races. But we are looking to bounce back here today, and we have done so far, lining up in pole position. There we are, pole position of 1:45.594, beating Danny Kvyat by 1,000th of a second. There's our teammate Nico Hülkenberg. He lines up right behind us, in fact, in third position. So it's a good day for both Force Indias in the qualifying session. We are, of course, starting on the soft tyres in today's race, lining up in P1 on the grid, which should mean that we get the race strategy over the other guys. There's a little bit of rain in the air, though, coming towards the end of the session. So it would be a good idea to go on the soft tyres, start on the softs, pit for the medium tyres for our first stop, and then try and take the medium tyres all the way towards the wet period. But if we have to, we will go on to super soft tyres if they don't quite make it. But I think that those medium tyres should make it towards the wet period. That should come down maybe around lap 17, 18, something like that. So hopefully they do last and we can get this strategy exactly right. But it's a little bit different to what I usually go for when I'm at the front of the grid. When I'm at the front of the grid, normally I go for an aggressive strategy, just sort of match the AI. But this time, I'm deciding to go for a different strategy. I don't think the super soft tyres are the tyres to go for at this circuit, so we are deciding not to use those. But here we are on the formation lap, getting ourselves underway. It's been a while since we started in pole position, so it's been a while since we have led the formation lap. But going around the circuit, warming up the tyres, warming up the brakes, and heading back to the starting grid. Here we are then on the grid for round 13 of this season 3. It's 5 red lights. It's lights out, and away we go for today's Belgian Grand Prix. It's a poor start from myself on these soft tyres. That allows Nico Hülkenberg and Danny Kvyat to both get the jump on me going down in towards turn 1. I'm also put myself under pressure from my championship rival Carlos Sainz, but he backs out of it as we squeeze him around the outside of turn 1. Nico Hülkenberg following right behind Danny Kvyat on the run down towards El Rouge. That is a great overtake from my teammate round the outside in towards El Rouge, and he managed to hold it. What a fantastic overtake from my teammate. But the engine upgrade that we have done onto this car, helping us so much down this straight, following in the slipstream and getting the jump on Danny Kvyat, moving back up into second place. And it is currently a 1-2 for Force India, with Nico Hülkenberg leading the way, myself in second, and Danny Kvyat running behind in third. Right, let's have a look at a replay of what happened on board with Nico Hülkenberg. A great start off the line, going down in towards turn 1, braking a lot later than I did, sort of misjudged where I actually needed to brake, and then side by side between Danny Kvyat and Nico Hülkenberg. But Danny Kvyat having the outside line, getting a greater drive off the corner, and that allows him to get the position. But Nico Hülkenberg with that engine power upgrade, going to the left hand side in towards El Rouge. He gets the car tucked in before he even gets to the corner. That is how quick we are in a straight line in this Force India, and that is a great overtake from my teammate. But we cut ahead a little bit later on lap 4, and like I said, the super soft tyres aren't exactly the right tyres to be on at this race, only lasting 4 laps as Nico Hülkenberg comes into the pit lane. We set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:48.6. So a good lap there from myself. And at the moment, we have a huge lead over everybody else in the field. Kevin Magnussen not deciding to come into the pits. That's going to bump him up into second place on those super soft tyres, but he should be coming into the pits within the next couple of laps. And Nico Hülkenberg coming out of the pit lane right now, just ahead of the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. Is he going to hold position going down in towards El Rouge? Just about. Nico Hülkenberg holding position against the Ferrari driver, but Sebastian Vettel will be following in the slipstream all the way down the Kemmel Straight. And we'll get some lovely slipstream and DRS going down in towards Lecoombs. Can he get the position on my teammate going down in towards this right-hander of Lecoombs? It's side-by-side action between my teammate and Sebastian Vettel. Still side-by-side. Nico Hülkenberg just keeping his front wing in there just a little bit to try and hold position. It's side-by-side once again down in towards Rivard. Still going side-by-side. This is great wheel-to-wheel action between my teammate and Sebastian Vettel, but Nico Hülkenberg just about gets position there. Now we can try and push on to catch up with the rest of the field who have changed their strategy like Max Verstappen. But here we are on board with the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson going down in towards turn 1. So Marcus Ericsson running down quite far down the backfield. Sauber yet to score any points in my whole entire career mode. Is that going to change here today as Marcus Ericsson goes down towards El Rouge? No, it is not, as he has had an engine failure. Disappointment there from Marcus Ericsson, but it's not really going to change too much as he is running out the back of the field, and Sauber, like I said, are yet to score any points. However, it does bring out the safety car, but luckily for us, we were coming into the pits on this lap anyway, the soft tyres only lasting 8 laps in this race, and it is going to help us on those medium tyres because it does mean that for about 3-4 laps, we don't have to wear these tyres too much. We just need to take it easy on these medium tyres, and they should last now till the end of the race. So here we are on the end of lap 9, but will we come out ahead of our teammate Nico Hülkenberg just behind the safety car? It's very, very close. Nico Hülkenberg there on the right hand side, but just about getting position on us and braking very, very early there down under the safety car. But Nico Hülkenberg, my teammate, just about holding position, and we have to settle for second place for the time being. Jenson Button right behind me in third, but I think he may be coming into the pits within the next couple of laps. Here we are then on lap 11 as the safety car will be coming in this lap. So let's go through the running order before the safety car restart. Nico Hülkenberg is currently leading the race. Myself am in second right behind him. Danny Kvyat is in third. He is having a good race so far. We've got Sebastian Vettel in fourth. Then it's Kevin Magnussen behind him in fifth. Felipe Massa sixth. Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, lines up in 7th with Max Verstappen in 8th. And then we have Nico Rosberg in 9th for the Mercedes. The other Renault with Jolyon Palmer lining up in 10th. And Carlos Sainz all the way down in, I think that is 12th or 13th position. So not having the best of the races so far. But that is good news for us because he is, of course, my championship rival. So if he can finish outside the points, that'll be a great result for both myself and Force India as well. But the safety car is in. The race is underway once again, and Nico Hülkenberg getting a great safety car restart there, getting a good couple of seconds ahead of us, which he does need, especially down the long Kemmel Straight. Looks like we've gotten away from the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat, who's now under pressure from the driver behind him, which is Sebastian Vettel. So if those two can battle, that'll really help us two out, because that means that we should definitely get a 1-2 in this race. But it all, of course, on strategy as well. Have we played our strategy well? Has Nico Hülkenberg played his strategy well? We're just going to have to wait and see how this race pans out. But going down the long Kemmel Straight, I said that Nico Hülkenberg might be under pressure through here. He certainly is with the straight line speed that we have, especially with the slipstream going down in towards the Coombs. And we have made mincemeat of Nico Hülkenberg there. Very easy move going down in towards the Coombs, and we are back up into the lead of the race. But Nico Hülkenberg, he won't give up so easy. He is on the more grippier tyres, so he should be a lot faster through the corners than us. I think he has a better setup through the corners as well, but he doesn't quite get past. And on lap 12, one lap later, he has decided to come into the pits, and so has Sebastian Vettel as well. So it looks like it's time for all the guys who start on the super softs, then went on to the softs, to now come into the pits. So it'll be exciting to see just exactly how this strategy works out amongst all the other drivers, because they are all doing the same strategy here today. So it'll be exciting to see what happens to these guys. But it's a bit unfortunate that Nico Hülkenberg is going to drop off and probably not be in a battle with us come the end of the race. But we just have to wait and see how the race pans out. Of course, maybe our medium tyres might not last till the end of the race, but Nico Hülkenberg is very sure that these medium tyres will definitely last until lap 22, and they should last 9 laps. If I can get the soft tyres to last 8 laps, then he should be able to get those tyres to last 9 laps. But here we are on board with the Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen, still on lap 13, and he has had an engine failure as well. The second engine failure of today's race. Disappointment there for Max Verstappen, especially as he was on the same strategy as me, so it would have been exciting to see what he could have done this race. He could have possibly got a podium here today, so very disappointing there for the Red Bull driver. And still here on lap 13, we're on board with Nico Rosberg now. Is he going to have an engine failure? Is there going to be engine failures galore in this Belgian Grand Prix? I don't think it has. Looking on board, he's got a front left puncher going into the bus stop chicane, but luckily for him, it's just before the pit lane entry, and for some reason, he has decided to stop it on the apex of the bus stop chicane, holding everybody else, and this is going straight into my hands. Danny Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen, and of course Jenson Button, who has just driven off into the distance, getting past all these guys. It's coming into our hands because we're going to have so much time over the rest of the drivers. So it's going to be a really good news for us guys, as we should be able to push on from the rest of the field, especially if some of them were doing different strategies. But here's a replay on board with Nico Rosberg to see exactly what happened to the Mercedes driver. So going through Blanchimont, and there it goes. The left front tyre just completely deflates, going completely flat. And that is pretty much ruining Nico Rosberg's race. But then he goes and ruins everybody else's races by parking it right on the apex of the bus stop chicane. A front wing coming off of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. So Mercedes will not be very happy with how Nico Rosberg handled that. And Nico Hulkenberg. Forgot my teammate's name there. That's not very good in terms of Force India partnership. But Nico Hulkenberg getting held up, getting past a few drivers, but it looks like he's actually letting them all through now, and then he gets underway. So he had to let through all the other guys that he did actually pass under the yellow flag, and he's back to racing once again. But disappointment for Nico Hulkenberg, because he's lost out even more time. But here we are on lap 18. The rain has started to come down as we run it wide through El Rouge, showing that there is less grip out on track. We get a warning for exceeding track limits. A bit disappointing there, but the rain coming down. We're ready to come in if we have to on the intermediates, but we're still putting on Richmond, still trying to push while we can. Try and burn up as much as our fuel so we can put in lean. Once again, running it wide through Blanchimont, getting another warning for exceeding track limits. One more warning, and that is a 3-second time penalty, so we do need to be aware of that. But because of running wide through Blanchimont and through El Rouge, we have decided it's time to come onto the intermediate tyres. It may be an early gamble. We're just going to have to wait and see if this pays off or not. But coming into the pit lane, is anybody else going to be making a pit stop in this race? We're so far ahead of the likes of Kevin Magnussen, Danny Kvyat, that we just don't know yet. We just don't know if those guys are coming into the pits. I'm trying to listen and see if any cars go past. I think there are a couple going past right now, so that would be Danny Kvyat and Kevin Magnussen, but there are a few pit crews coming out in the garage as well, so we may have just got ahead of the cutoff phase. Yes, Kevin Magnussen and Danny Kvyat not deciding to come in for the intermediate tyres. So have we gone too early, or have they gone too late? Danny Kvyat all over the back of us, going up to the inside of El Rouge, but backing out of it and deciding not to go for that overtake. But we will be under pressure all the way down the Kemmel Straight from the Toro Rosso driver. But have we made a bad decision going on intermediates just here? We're very quick down a straight. So we have to be aware of that. But Nico Hulkenberg is in the pits, and because we were in the pit lane, that's held up his pit stop so much. He's lost part of his front wing somewhere on the track as well, having to get a new front wing for Nico Hulkenberg, and he is going onto the intermediate tyres. So we have not gone too early. We went at exactly the right time, beating the likes of Kevin Magnussen and Danny Kvyat, and that is a perfect pit stop from us. Not a perfect pit stop from our teammate Nico Hulkenberg there, losing a lot of time and being put so far down the field, just ahead of a manner of Pascal Wehrlein, I believe that is. So that is very disappointing for Nico Hulkenberg to be so far down. But hopefully for him, he is in a fast car, so he should be able to catch up to the rest of the field. But back on board with ourselves, we're right behind the race leader at the moment, which is Kevin Magnussen, but he is on those soft tyres, really struggling as well with traction on this damp circuit. Going up the inside in towards Stavelot, and there we go, getting the job done on Kevin Magnussen, moving back up into the lead of the race. So we're going to have a huge margin over those guys because they will be coming into the pit. So it'll be interesting to see who is going to come out in that podium position. Will Kevin Magnussen and Danny Kvyat hold onto it, or will somebody else who has pitted for the intermediate tyres sneak that away from them? It'll be exciting to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing who will come out on that podium. But still on lap 19, we're on board with the other Renault of Jolyon Palmer, who did decide to go onto those intermediate tyres, but he's right behind the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, who did not decide to go onto the wet tyres. He stayed onto the dries, on the mediums, and I'm not too sure why that was. He would have been in the pack amongst the likes of Valtteri Bottas, my teammate Nico Hülkenberg, Jolyon Palmer, and those guys. He would have been in that pack deciding that they could go onto the intermediate tyres, but for some reason he went against what everybody else was doing, decided they could probably hold on for another lap, and that just was not the case. And now he's being swamped by a whole load of drivers going through Blanchimont, and he's been hit. He's had contact there with Jolyon Palmer going into the barrier. Is that his race over? No, it's not. He's still moving out on track, but that is disaster for the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. They have just not had any luck this season. Mercedes right down the back of the, not at the back of the field, but inside the mid-table. And they have had hardly any luck this season at all. And let's have a look at a replay on board with the Mercedes driver. So going through Blanchimont right now, he just gets a little tag there from Jolyon Palmer, who's on the faster, grippier tyres, and just gets sent straight into the barrier, and that pretty much ruining his race. But talking about not ruining races, here we are on lap 22 with such a huge margin over Valtteri Bottas, who has ended up in second place on the final lap of today's race, making the strategy call perfect in qualifying. Exceeding track limits just a little bit there, getting our third warning, getting a 3-second time penalty, but we have such a huge margin over Valtteri Bottas that it just won't matter at all. And here we are coming through the final corner, like I said, getting the strategy right in qualifying, getting it right in the race, and we are going to come home for our third race win in this season 3. What a result for us in this Force India, bouncing back from 2 very, very disappointing races. There we go then, our third race win of the season, and it was a pretty easy race if I'm entirely honest. We battled a little bit with Nico Hülkenberg at the start. The safety car really helped us out as well, and yeah, pretty much just an easy race all in all, and nothing really else to talk about in terms of what happened in that race towards ourselves. There was a lot of stuff going on to the other drivers, but in terms of our own race, it was very plain and simple. Valtteri Bottas, he managed to make his way up to second, pitting on those intermediate tyres earlier than third and fourth place Kevin Magnussen and Danny Kvyat. Jenson Button comes home in fifth, good result from him, especially from 19th on the grid. Sebastian Vettel, he finished in 6th with Carlos Sainz in 7th, Daniel Ricciardo 8th, Fernando Alonso finishes in 9th, and Jolyon Palmer gets the final point here at the Belgian Grand Prix, finishing in 10th position after that contact with Lewis Hamilton. My teammate Nico Hülkenberg not making it into the points after that terrible pit stop that Force India did. Not too sure why it took so long for Nico Hülkenberg there, especially as he came into the pits like more than 5 seconds after we actually pitted. So disappointment there for Nico Hülkenberg, but we'll be looking to bounce back next time at the Italian Grand Prix, which should be a good race for us. Looking further down the field then, Max Verstappen and Marcus Ericsson were our only DNFs. Lewis Hamilton finishing down in 20th position after that collision with Jolyon Palmer at the end. Felipe Massa down in 19th, making 5 pit stops in today's race. So not too sure what on earth strategy Williams decided to put him on there, but very, very surprising to see 5 pit stops in today's race. But let's have a look and see how this affects us in the championship. And after winning today's race, and Carlos Sainz, I think he got 6th or 7th, I can't actually remember, but after us winning today's race, that means that we have closed up the gap to 53 points, which is exactly what we need to do. I worked it out that before this race, if we had won every single one, and Carlos Sainz came second in every single one, then we would win the championship by, I think it was like 3 points. So we're doing exactly what we need to do. We just need to keep on winning races, make sure that Carlos Sainz stays behind us, and we do have a chance of winning this Drivers' World Championship. There is still a long way left to go though. 53 points is a huge margin that we need to catch up on, but we are doing exactly what is needed of us right now. Constructors standings then, and we gained a few amount of points on Danny Kvyat and Carlos Sainz. Not by a lot though. The gap before this race was 152 points, and now it is 145. So we have closed up the gap a little bit, but not enough to really start thinking about the Constructors' Championship. If myself and Nico Hülkenberg can get 1-2s like we are capable of seeing the race today, then we could certainly challenge with Toro Rosso, but we need to start getting those results, and hopefully with a few more upgrades in the future, we can certainly do that. But that's it for today's Belgian Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Right then, taking a look at the rivalry update after today's Belgian Grand Prix. It's been a fantastic race weekend entirely for us. Getting the race win, absolutely demolishing Carlos Sainz and bringing up the gap just to 1 point between us two in the rivalry update, which is fantastic to see and hear as well. 1 point separates us, and we certainly have the chance to take that away from him at the Italian Grand Prix, but we just need a good qualifying and a good race there to do that. Research and development, 1,676 resource points, and we can talk about what we should upgrade and what we shouldn't upgrade throughout this episode, but there's only really one thing that I am going to upgrade at the end of the day. I've said it for a while. It's the only reason why we have taken this long to upgrade something on our car. It is the engine power, of course. Heading into the Italian Grand Prix, what else should we upgrade? There's nothing really else to think about, and from now on, it's a case of whether we cease research and development at the Singapore Grand Prix or we decide to carry on the upgrades. If we are in a championship battle with Toro Rosso and Carlos Sainz, then we will carry on upgrading the car, because you know we need to make sure that we stay ahead of them, do what we can do to try and stay ahead of Toro Rosso, and keep on making upgrades throughout the season is the only way to do that. Just looking at the vehicle performance comparison, Toro Rosso are so far ahead right now that we need to do something to try and catch up to those guys. But that is it for today's Belgian Grand Prix. Leave a comment down below whether you think we should cease research and development or we should carry on throughout the rest of the season. But if you are new around here, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Also, hit a like if you have enjoyed this video as well. And I will see you next time at the Italian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.